but I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till after the kirtan.
Okay.
Okay.
You're making me the host after the kirtan?
I'll do it now. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
because
just-
I record too,
Yeah.
or co-host or whatever.
Oh, right. Sorry. That's right. Make host. Change host. Yeah, it stops my recording, so I have to start at my... Oh, I can't record on my computer if I make you the host. That's the only thing.
All right, go ahead and make me the co-host and then switch it after.
Okay, you have to make me the
Okay, so go to
co-host.
participants and then make host. Okay, change host. Okay, so then you're going to switch it after you're done with kirtan.
Yes.
But make me the co-host now so I can record.
Thank you. Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I won't be able to record if I'm not the host. Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare
Unstable internet today.
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare
Vishnuvad Puramansa Pariprajakacharya Ashtotar Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Miraj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Mukund Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Gaur. Welcome to all, especially welcome to Haridas Prabhu, where on October 28th, 2022, in Govardhan, a day earlier in New York, and we're reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 34, and we're partway through the purport. The discussion is concerning Krishna's desire to manifest spontaneous love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusham Dehamashritaha Bhajate Tadrishi Krida Yashrutva Tatparo Bhavet. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. And we're picking up from a paragraph that begins, Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We've earlier heard about Manusham, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusham Dehamashrita. Krishna appears to favor humanity by appearing in his human form. Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in all the species of life, although this is inconceivable to the human brain. The Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. The Supreme Lord bestows the most merciful benediction upon human society when he appears in his human form. It is then that humanity gets the opportunity to engage in different kinds of eternal service to the Lord. Om Jnanatimidandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamanang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vanshako Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Well, Krishna appears in every form, and particularly to benefit human society, he appears in his original human-like form. Let's see. Okay. Special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. Adoration, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of the conjugal relationship, enriched by many sentiments, gives the maximum relishable mellow to the devotee. The Lord appears in different incarnations as a fish, tortoise, and boar, as Parshuram, Lord Ram, Buddha, and so on, to reciprocate the different appreciations of living entities in different stages of evolution. The conjugal relationship of amorous love, called Parakiya Ras, is the unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. Any questions so far? Comments so far? Yes.
I'm exposing myself for not having read ahead at all, but that when it said the special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity, that pulled me up a little short, because it seems like, at least when I joined, it was the hallmark of a neophyte to be kind of obsessed with, well, what is my relationship with Krishna? Am I in Madhurya Ras? Am I in Vatsalya Ras? And at least for myself, I find that has come to mean less and less over the years, in the sense that I don't think about it so much. I don't dwell on it. It's just sort of like I dwell on who I am now, what I'm doing now, and how I can be a better devotee in the personality I exhibit now. And I was just wondering, it sort of took me back to those days when I was like, oh, what's my swarup and all this. And I was just wondering, is it, I guess you have to be pretty advanced to just, it's not like you can idly say, oh yeah, I really like the pastimes of Mother Yashoda and Krishna, or I really like the pastimes of the cowherd boys. Is it, but there is some natural appreciation now in my conditioned state for certain pastimes or certain, relationships. And I'm just wondering how seriously do you take that? Or, do you strive to become more purified and cultivate that appreciation? Or do you just, how does it work?
Of course, this is beyond my level of realization. One thing is, if you find stretchiness in this internet connection, let me know and I'll turn off the video. The internet hasn't been the greatest this morning.
Okay.
Prabhupada makes this point several times in his books, that how will we know that we have a particular relationship with Krishna? Of course, there's a class of people who say, when you get initiated, then, we tell you who you are and what your dress is and what your service is and, all of the rest of it. That's not our process. Our process is hearing. And as the devotee makes advancement, then this is there. One develops a particular attraction for hearing about Krishna in a particular mood. And that serves as an indication of the devotee's particular relationship with Krishna. These things are meant for us, but as you've indicated, it's not from day one. Well, I like to hear about Krishna killing the demons. Maybe I'm a demon. It's not quite so facile as that. But as one advances in devotional service, and of course, it's also not advertised that, I just love to hear about such and such pastime. And then sort of hinting or broadcasting that means that I have such and such relationship with Krishna. These things the devotee keeps confidential, but they gradually develop as the devotee's heart becomes purified. As he goes on hearing and chanting, then he develops a particular relish for hearing about Krishna in a particular mood. And that serves as, you can say, an early indication of the devotee's relationship with Krishna. So these things are not there just as sort of formal obligations. Well, we have to say these things because they're there in the commentaries of previous acharyas. They're meant for us, but they're meant for us at the mature stage. And Srila Prabhupada will next launch into a discussion of the sahajas and how they jump the gun. But it's not that because there's counterfeit money, there's no real money. This development is there for the devotee. And of course, it's manifested by service, by hearing, by chanting, and by serving. So we focus on that, or Prabhupada had us focus on that, on serving, and that purifies the heart. And as we go on hearing and chanting, which also purifies the heart, these revelations gradually are meant to take place. I hope that's all right.
That's fine. Thank you so much. As you were speaking, it reminded me of, I think it's in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada talks about the spiritual television in the heart. And I always like to imagine that, until you become purified, it's all static. And then one day you lock onto the signal and everything shows up in living color in the heart.
Yeah, one day Prabhupada said we'll see Krishna face to face.
Thank you so much for your answer. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Saraswati says, since there are innumerable incarnations and not all are revealed in scriptures, It becomes difficult when many people come forward to claim they are an incarnation or an animal is an incarnation. This misleads many. It's easy to say, well, since we've heard quoted, someone says he's an incarnation, and well, what's the evidence? Yada yada hi dharmasya. I come in age and age, from age to age. That's too broad. That's too broad. Everyone comes, we've all taken birth. It doesn't mean we're all incarnations. So similarly, someone says, well, there's so many incarnations, and not all of them are mentioned, so I could be one. All right, well, then show your stuff. Give us the evidence. Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. Lord Ram floated stones over the ocean to reach Lanka. So what have you done? What have you done? And what are you teaching? The cheaters can be easily identified. They can what can you say? Take shelter under the umbrella of, well, there are unlimited incarnations, so I might be one. Like there's 100 billionaires in the world, so I might be one. Yeah, but let's look at your bank account. It's empty. So yes, anyone could theoretically be an incarnation because Krishna comes in every form and in every age, but that doesn't get you in. A class of so-called devotees known as sahajiyas try to imitate the Lord's pastimes, although they have no understanding of the amorous love in his expansions of pleasure potency. Their superficial imitation can create havoc on the path for the advancement of one's spiritual relationship with the Lord. Material sexual indulgence can never be equated with spiritual love, which is an unadulterated goodness. The activities of the sahajiyas simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and mind. Krishna's transcendental pastimes display eternal servitorship to Adhokshaja, the Supreme Lord, who is beyond all conception through material senses. Materialistic, conditioned souls do not understand the transcendental exchanges of love, but they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. The activities of the Supreme Lord can never be understood by irresponsible persons who think the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be ordinary affairs. The rasa dance is arranged by Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya, and it is beyond the grasp of the materially affected person. Trying to throw mud into transcendence with their perversity, the sahajiyas misinterpret the sayings tat pratena nirmalam and tat paro bhavet. By misinterpreting tadrishi krida, pastimes of that nature, they want to indulge in sex while pretending to imitate Lord Krishna. But one must actually understand the imports of the words through the intelligence of the authorized Goswamis. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in his prayers to the Goswamis, has explained his inability to understand such spiritual affairs. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kobe Hama Uchavashe Jugala Piriti. When I shall be eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In other words, unless one is trained under the disciplic succession of the Goswamis, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna. The conditioned souls are naturally averse to understanding the spiritual existence of the Lord, and if they try to know the transcendental nature of the Lord's pastimes while they remain absorbed in materialism, they are sure to blunder like the Sahajias. So this warning is given that one can ruin one's devotional service by mixing supposed spiritual love with material sense gratification. That will ruin everything. The activities, especially of Radha and Krishna, all of Krishna's activities, but especially noted, the activities of Radha and Krishna are manifestations of the internal potency, Vishuddha Sattva. They're all on the spiritual platform, completely spiritual platform. And they're the activities of Adhokshaja, the inconceivable personality of Godhead. If we think that, well, we can sort of put it all together and relish Krishna lila in this way by practicing it ourselves, then we'll, instead of becoming purified, as Srila Prabhupada said, we will become putrefied. Interestingly, there was a Christian heresy, I forget which century, in Italy, where a small group of priests came up with the idea that the pure soul, the soul who's surrendered to Jesus, the soul surrendered to Jesus is a pure soul. The pure soul is of the same nature as God. And therefore, for the pure soul to deny any of his desires would be an offense to divinity, an offense to God. And so, on the contrary, the desires that the pure soul has should be honored. And what desires are those? The desires to get in between the sheets and enjoy sex. So that became quite a popular heresy, as you might imagine. It really became quite a wave. This was wonderful, that you could surrender to Jesus and have your fill of sense gratification without limits. This was wonderful. So this tendency is there, that let me attain spiritual perfection and enjoy unrestricted sex, and put them together so that my unrestricted sex becomes not the animal business that it is, but an expression of divine love. An expression of divine love. So this is all gross. This all is a perversion of the reality. Krishna's pastimes with the gopis are manifest by the spiritual potency and imitating them doesn't bring one to the spiritual platform. It gets one deeper into material existence. We have a question from Lakshmana Gurudev, mi su reverencia en parental relación. Entiendo que quieren que Krishna sea el hijo, pero si se puede aplicar relación con Krishna como padre. Sí, can one have in the parental relationship with Krishna, one desires Krishna as one's son, but can one apply this relationship with Krishna by having Krishna, in wanting to have Krishna as one's son, or being the father of Krishna? Yes, this is there. That relationship is there. Or better, rather than desiring that I'll become Yashoda, I'll become Nanda, that's not possible. They're already there, and we can't take their place. She's asking if Krishna, con Krishna como padre. Esta es la pregunta, si Krishna puede ser nuestro padre. Nuestro padre.
Sí, Maharaj.
Bueno, ya entiendo. Gracias a Tulsi Priya. Yes, that's the serving relationship. The first relationship with Krishna is dasya. So in dasya, then Krishna is our Father who art in heaven. That's dasya. God is great. God is our Father. God is our King. God is our Lord. That's all dasya. That's all dasya. So yes, you can have that Krishna is my Father. That's dasya. Let me think if there's anything else. Yes, and there are devotees who, yes, take that position. Tulsi Priya.
I was just wondering, because of the level of affection, like a parent, if something happens to the child, the bereavement of the parent is not like anything you can imagine, but the child, at a certain stage is still basically selfish. So the child is dependent, thinking who's going to feed me, who's going to protect me. So that level of affection isn't equal to what the parent has for the child. So I'm just wondering if that's why, Krishna being the father, the devotees in the dasya mood, because it's not the same level of love and affection for Krishna as one would have if they were Krishna's father or mother and seeing Krishna as the child.
Yes, the dasya is to feel dependent on Krishna. Rakshasya titi vishvasho bhoktritve varanam tata. Krishna's my maintainer. Krishna's my protector. Krishna's my Lord. Krishna's my God. This is all dasya. And that's appreciated. The demons, why do we have to have Krishna? Let us have something. I'm also Krishna, you're also Krishna, or my Lord. But here, no, Krishna is God. And Krishna is God, we're his servants, that's dasya. So dasya is the basic principle of all the relationships with Krishna. The non-relationship is, why should I be a servant? And the relationship is that I'm the servant. I'm the servant of the servant. So in the stage of dasya, that's manifested in perfection. So Krishna has his devotees in the spiritual world who are in that relationship. Raktak, Patrak, the different servants. But then, if the love becomes more developed, then it comes to the stage that why is Krishna? What? Krishna is my God. Krishna is my friend. The awe and reverence is dropped, and one thinks that. Of course, there's two kinds of friendship. First, friendship is like Arjuna, a little respectful friendship. Krishna is my superior, but he's my friend. That's the first level of friendship. And higher is, like the cowherd boys, that Krishna's our friend, that's all. Where's the question of higher or lower? He lost, so he has to carry us. That's all. No, no getting out of it. You lost, that's it. So in this way, they play with Krishna without any consideration at all that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just love Krishna. So that's friendship. And then higher, that Krishna is dependent on me. Krishna is dependent on me. So that becomes the parental relationship. And then still further development, that Krishna is my lover, Krishna is my husband and lover. Two stages also in conjugal relationships. And Prabhupada said that's the highest stage of relishing mellows with Krishna. But again, it's not that, well, whatever's the highest, that's what it has to be. One has an eternally existing relationship with Krishna that's revived by hearing and chanting and marked by a particular kind of attraction in the mature stage. Or in the maturing stage, you can say, because it doesn't wait till one attains the highest stage, but as one makes progress and becomes purified, then these things can be understood. Saraswati, it is known that Mother Jamuna can deliver even those on the lowest beast mentality, and she can help us come to a stage where we can satisfy forever all the Brajbasis with our service and fix the Yugala Swarup in our heart eternally. She herself is always engaged in serving the Brajbasis, and especially the Gopis. Yes, the Jamuna is Krishna's eternal associate in Vrindavan, just as Giriraj is here in Vrindavan. So Giriraj is here, the dust of Vrindavan is here, Jamuna is here. In the Pushti Marg Sampradaya especially, the role of Jamuna is very much emphasized. And it's accepted in the Gaudiya Sampradaya also. We become Krishna conscious by the grace of Krishna and Krishna's devotees and his energies. I mean, the Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. So the pastimes are different for different bodies. Yes, Krishna's, what is that? Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusham. I'm not seeing it right in front of me, but to favor different devotees, he appears in different forms. So he appears in every form to favor different living beings in different species of life. But they can't, in the different species of life, they don't appreciate Krishna's activities to the extent that one can appreciate it in the human form. Murari says, deity worship gives some scope for feeling Krishna is dependent on us. Is that safe or premature until our eternal relationship starts to manifest? The feeling that Krishna is dependent on us, is that safe? I don't have much of an opinion on that, but I have to do it. Otherwise, it won't be done. And Krishna, yes, that feeling is there, that if I don't feed Krishna, then what will happen? I have to feed Krishna. So some scope. Not that the devotee from the beginning stage thinks that now he's become like Nanda Jashoda. But that feeling should be there, that I have to dress Krishna nicely, I have to feed Krishna nicely. The responsibility is on me. Yes, that will help us. Okay. Anything else, or should we move on? Okay, we'll move on. Abed kriya vidhi lin she ihakoi kortovya avaksha anyata prajavai. Here the word, the use of the verb bhavait, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. Let's look back. Let's see if I can look back. Yes, anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham ashrita bhajate tadrashi krida yashudva tatparo bhavet. One must become tatpara. Tatpara means absorbed in this hearing and absorbed in this service to Krishna. The implication is that one should become absorbed in spontaneous devotional service to the Lord. That's the context. That we shouldn't just be following rules and regulations. We shouldn't be just stuck on regulative devotional service, but we should come to the higher level of spontaneous love. And bhavet is vidhilin. Vidhilin means imperative. One must. It's not optional. Purport: the imperative is applicable to pure devotees. Neophytes will be able to understand these affairs only after being elevated by regulated devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. Then they too will be competent to hear of the love affairs of Radha and Krishna. So the verse could be advanced as evidence. No, I must at once come to spontaneous love. I have to focus on becoming absorbed in spontaneous love of Krishna. Otherwise, what am I doing? Just stuck on these regulative principles. And the scripture is right behind me. Tatparo bhavet. But here, this is for the pure devotees, not for the neophytes. First, one must be trained. Then one can appreciate these things, or then this imperative, this command becomes applicable. Just like Prabhupada said, all the girls should get married. So then if one thinks, well, I'm 7 years old, I should be married. No, not quite yet. Not quite yet. As long as one is in material conditioned life, strict discipline is required in the matter of moral and immoral activities. The absolute world is transcendental and free from such distinctions, because there inebriety is not possible. But in this material world, a sexual appetite necessitates distinction between moral and immoral conduct. There are no sexual activities in the spiritual world. The transactions between lover and beloved in the spiritual world are pure transcendental love and unadulterated bliss. One who has not been attracted by the transcendental beauty of rasa will certainly be dragged down into material attraction, thus to act in material contamination and progress to the darkest region of hellish life. But by understanding the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, one is freed from the grip of attraction to material so-called love between man and woman. Similarly, one who understands the pure parental love of Nanda and Yashoda for Krishna will be saved from being dragged into material parental affection. If one accepts Krishna as the supreme friend, the attraction of material friendship will be finished for him, and he will not be dismayed by so-called friendship with mundane wranglers. If he's attracted by servitorship to Krishna, he will no longer have to serve the material body in the degraded status of material existence with the false hope of becoming master in the future. Similarly, one who sees the greatness of Krishna in neutrality will certainly never again seek the so-called relief of impersonalist or voidist philosophy. If one is not attracted by the transcendental nature of Krishna, one is sure to be attracted to material enjoyment, thus to become implicated in the clinging network of virtuous and sinful activities, and to continue material existence by transmigrating from one material body to another. Only in Krishna consciousness can one achieve the highest perfection of life. So here, two things are indicated. One is that one should not falsely imitate the activities of Krishna or pretend to a particular relationship with Krishna while one is still engrossed in material attraction. And the other point is that by being attracted to Krishna, in fact, one loses attraction for material relationships. Bhaktir parshanupavo viraktir anyatracha. Therefore, a sign of pure devotional service is that one becomes free from attraction to Maya. Bhaktir parshanupavo viraktir anyatracha. The sign of the sahajas is that they go for both at the same time. The perfection of divine love expressed through material gross activities. That's rejected by all the acharyas as abominable. But if one is genuinely attracted by Krishna, then one loses attraction for Maya. Kabir says, understand these activities, understand these affairs only after being elevated by regulated devotional service under the expert guidance of the spiritual master. Did Prabhupada discuss these confidential pastimes of love with any of his disciples? If he didn't, is it because of not much disciples being very elevated? Would he have discussed these topics with other elevated souls? Or is it that we do not need to think of these pastimes of love for achieving perfection? Well, these things we do need to think of, and that's why they're in the books. It's not that we're just supposed to be not think of material life. Don't think of sex. Don't think of family relationships. Don't think of material friendship. Don't. And don't think of Krishna's pastimes. These things are a positive necessity for us. We're meant to think of Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada gave us, at an early stage, really, the Krishna book, and why he spoke of these things. Krishna's pastimes are not, by any means, out of bounds. At the same time, so elevated by devotional service under the guidance of the expert spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, his general approach was that we should become purified by service. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Vaibhe Akuti, by following in the Goswamis. And that other verse, Vishya Charya Kabe Shuddha Abhiman, to be freed from material desires by following the regulative principles. We're hearing, even in the previous verse, Shrutva. Let's find the verse again. No. Yes. Yashrudva tatparo bhavet. Vajate tadrishi krida. Yashrudva tatparo bhavet. How does one become tatpara? Addicted to Krishna, absorbed in thinking of Krishna in a particular relationship. Yashrudva, by hearing. By hearing from Shastra. So Srila Prabhupada very much emphasized we should read these books, we should hear. In Govardhan, Vaisheshika Prabhu was meeting with quite a group of devotees. They fill the room and spill out into the courtyard. And what is their program? Just to hear, to read straight through and hear Srila Prabhupada's books, Chaitanya, Caritamrita, Adi Lila, the book they're reading at the moment. So hearing, that will purify us. That will purify us. So it's not that we wait. No, we don't. We're not meant to hear. We're meant to hear. But Srila Prabhupada also gave a course correction in Los Angeles when devotees wanted to single out the Ras Lila and the affairs of Radha and Krishna with the gopis as the topic to hear about. Then Srila Prabhupada became angry. No, we should only hear about Radha and Krishna. We don't want to hear about Yashoda Maya. No. So we should hear, and Prabhupada said, a pure devotee relishes every drop of Srimad Bhagavatam. So in this way, Prabhupada taught us that we should become very much absorbed in hearing, reading his books, hearing his books. That will bring us to the stage of tatpada, being attracted to Krishna being absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada also emphasized it's by pleasing the spiritual master. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasad. He didn't advise his disciples, you just sit and become Babajis and become absorbed in these books of the Goswamis. But you serve, distribute my books. And when we distribute Prabhupada's books, he becomes pleased. And as one pleases the spiritual master, then gradually then Krishna becomes pleased, Bhagavat Prasada. And Tasyaite Katitarya Prakashante, everything becomes manifest. So we have to follow. Would Prabhupada have met with particular devotees, either his godbrothers or his disciples, to discuss particular pastimes? The question, of course, is speculative. What we know is that he didn't. He didn't form a small group. It's not that at the end, those who surrounded him were hearing only about Ras Lila and Radha Krishna Lila. That's not how Prabhupada taught. Vikriditam Brajavadhu Bhiridam Cha Vishnu Shradhanvito Yushanuyad Atavarniyedya Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilabhyakam Vidrogam Ashvapahanoti Apahanotya Chirena Dhira. Yes, by hearing about Krishna's dealings with the gopis, one is purified of the disease of lust within the heart. But again, it's not that this is the medicine. Prabhupada said it's not like you go to the pharmacy and say, what's the strongest medicine you got? And then, all right, let me have that. But the medicine prescribed by the expert physician. So in that way, we have to hear about Radha and Krishna carefully under the direction of the spiritual master. Panchatattva, someone may say, oh, Prabhupada, you ABC, but there's so much more you can learn from me. And then they tell some story or pastime about Krishna that we've not heard before. Srila Prabhupada may not have told us every single pastime there is, but is it acceptable to hear from persons who have brought something further to discussion, allegedly from the Goswami literatures, for example, or from some unnamed source? Well, Prabhupada was very careful about that. Of course, there's so many unauthorized persons, particularly in Vrindavan, ready to fill us with so many topics from Goswami literature, some of it from Goswami literature, some of it from imagination, some of it from other sources, and they're ready to fill us up with nectar. But the properly trained devotees will be wary and will avoid the association of such persons. Prabhupada was particularly cautious to protect us in Vrindavan. Then there may be authorized persons, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Even then, Srila Prabhupada was careful and didn't encourage us to go. Well, if in ISKCON they're not talking about Ras Katha, let me find someone who will dish it out. One should be careful. All right, we've reached the limit of our time. We can have some kirtan and end this meeting. And tomorrow here is Srila Prabhupada's Tirubhav Mahotsav. But I guess we'll continue. Yeah, unless someone tells me that it would be disruptive, I think we'll just carry on with our schedule. Kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Damata, Radha Damata, Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Jayādvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Punaman Supariprad Vikacharja Ashto Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Lord Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Tulsi Priya. Thank you, Krishna Kantiya. Thank you to Haridas Prabhu, and thank you to all.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Shraddha.
Very well.
Wonderful. Turn that thing off.
Thank you. All right. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna Gurudev.